Hello everyone, welcome to the Travel Coach. Moving body, mind and spirit. My guest today is a lecturer and coach, originally from Croatia, but currently living in the Netherlands, where she works as a teacher and therapist. When she completed her studies at the age of 25, she was ready to conquer the world. But the opposite happened. Despite having it all, she felt a deep sense of loss. This was the beginning of her journey to find home, a place where she could feel she belonged to in this planet. Tamara Rogic, welcome to the Travel Coach.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for this nice introduction. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to know more about this story. But first of all, I would like to start if you can tell us a bit more about your relationship with travel growing up. What are your memories on this phase of your life?
Well, I love this question. I really like that question. And my memories of traveling is that I don't remember my life without traveling, actually, because my father was a sailman. He was a captain on a ship. So basically, since the moment that I was born, traveling was always around me. And as a kid, I traveled a lot with him on the boat, so on the ship. So quite a lot of time we spent as a family, actually, with my mom and my sister later. My sister's three years younger. We were traveling with him a lot. So my latest and his latest trip was when I was 20. So basically, the first 20 years of my life, traveling was very much part of my life, actually, through my dad. And then also joining him. So yeah, I love travel. I love traveling.
And was these trips that you were doing in the country or you were abroad?
No, we were abroad. Actually, the furthest that I went with him was when I was 10. Or actually, as a family, it was a holiday, a summer holiday. We went from Hamburg to Brazil and back. So it was a full 2 months trip, actually. So my whole summer holidays were on the ship. It was a cargo ship, but still it has a swimming pool. So we were there, my sister and I, and there was also a cousin and another two girls of another crew member. We were all there, so we had the time of our life. In the
Wow, yeah,
swimming
sounds like a
pool
dream.
on this ship for 2 summers, and crossing Equator. How do you say it in English? I don't know the sign in the middle of the earth. So it was really, it was great. And the other one, I was in the States with him to Canada and the States. And on the east side, I never traveled. My mother did. She went to Tokyo also with him and to Japan. I haven't gone to the eastern side of our planet, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting. You had this privilege at this early age,
Yeah.
right? To be experiencing
exactly.
different parts of the world that other
Exactly.
kids maybe didn't have this privilege and this experience.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So I feel curious about, right? Because we were talking about this sense of feeling lost or not belonging. Where did you remember that this was the first time you felt this way?
Probably pretty early. Early in the sense of like a primary school, around age of, in Croatia, the primary school lasts from age 7 till age 14 or 15, depending. So probably around 10, 11, something like that. That was probably the first time when I start feeling that I could remember now that there was something that you feel like not really fulfilled. And yes, of course, you can then add that later to the puberty or whatever. But that would be probably the most early memory that I felt like, what am I doing here? Not in a sense that I would commit suicide, but in a sense that, the world is big, and why am I here, and why am I not somewhere else? And I don't feel totally okay here. And that was Yeah, and you attach that, or I attach that very much to the place where I am. So, like, also seeing other countries. The interesting thing about traveling, I still have it now in a different way. I see it is that when you are somewhere else, then you are there for a short period of time, and then everything seems better than where you are. So at the beginning, I really had like that feeling that I have to go and live somewhere else and not in Croatia or former Yugoslavia, because when I was young, that was Yugoslavia still, uh, because that's not my place, let's say. And it's when I actually went abroad and lived abroad, realized when I was already 28, when I moved for the first time really outside Croatia to live in England first, then it was very much all of a sudden into your face. Oh, I chose to come here because I had a certain picture about England and I managed to go there to live in England. And there is this sense of loss still here. So what's going on? So that was
Okay.
really the ringing bell of like, okay, there is something else and not the place itself. So
So, because this is very interesting. So, I think everybody felt this way in some
yeah,
part of, in some moment, no, right, on their
yeah,
lives. So, in this case, if we go to this moment when you were pre-teenager, teenager, right, that you started to ask these deeper questions
mhm,
about why are you here? You said, right, or if this is the place, or this is what you belong,
yeah,
and you say that you related it with place. So
yeah.
what led you believe that where the this feeling was related to the place? Where this is this connection coming from?
Mm. Well, as I said, I think it was because when I would travel abroad, and then like the shortest travels were to Italy, because I come from a place in Croatia that is very close to Italy. So we were going to Trieste. That was a typical Yugoslavian thing to go to do shopping in Trieste. So we would go to Italy very often, like at least once a month. And and then when you are there, then everything this place was like, oh yes, this is a much nicer place, and people are different, and so that's most likely, if I think back, the first thing that I would say, like, oh, this is a really nice place, so probably the place where I'm coming from is not that nice. And there are also other stories and things that you hear as a kid, because I lived in a communist country. Although the borders were open and everything was open, still there was a repression. You felt it. So there was also lots of talking, like, Italy for us, or whatever, what was the Western Europe then, was free. So probably the place and relationship to a place was also coming from those stories that you as a kid hear around. My personal experience was certainly while going to Italy, or then also all these travels that I did with my dad, where the places are, when you are traveling, then everything is nice. Well, at least that's how I experienced traveling, that you go to another place and you are free of the thing that you are doing on a daily basis. And then that's freeing you and feels like totally different, and you are more uplifted. And then as a child, I connected it with a place.
Oh, that's very interesting. So it's like a mix between the grass is always greener
Yeah,
in the neighbor's garden,
yeah,
plus when you are traveling, which means being in other places,
yeah,
the feeling that you are feeling there because you feel this freedom,
yes,
you're on vacations, you're having fun. It's related, it's connected
it's connected.
directly with being abroad, to being in other
Yeah,
places, right? So
yeah,
then you make this connection. It must be the place I am here right now living that is bringing me these feelings.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
What did you try? What did you try in the past to get rid of these feelings that
Hmm.
didn't work?
Well, it started. Well, when I was somewhere, I don't remember exactly, but somewhere at the end of my teenage times. so probably around 16, 17. I don't remember really the reason why, but I know that I went to a psychologist, and or my mom took me to a psychologist. But to be honest, I really don't remember the reason. And I kind of knew that whatever I had this thing, that whatever I was telling that person, it was a normal, session where you talk. I had this idea that whatever I say, I can say whatever I want, and the person the other side is going to believe me. So at the moment when I felt totally lost, like after I graduated and felt like, okay, and what's now? I knew that I don't want to go to a psychologist, because I had this belief like, okay, I'm going to a psychologist and then I'm going to tell a story and he or she was going to, And somehow in the course of my studies, I also came in contact with Reiki, and we were doing lots of, now mainly Reiki and dreaming and interpretation of dreams. So a bit alternative things to personal development than the normal psychological approach. And by chance, literally by chance, my cousin went to a course that she found very interesting, and it was body-centered. And I went to a body-centered therapy, and then it was really for me, okay, if I'm going to look for something different in terms of how I feel about myself, then it's going to be in that way. Because through the body-centered therapy, you don't talk. Basically, you are connecting yourself with really deeper feelings in you, which are not coming from your head, but are really coming from your heart, literally from your body, from the different body sensations. I'm not going now to explain the whole process, but it's not talk related, but it's feeling related. And that worked for me much, much better, because then you are not directing with your mind. That's what you are saying, or what you are, directing the process also where you want, but you kind of give into the process, let's say. So you are following what's happening in you. And that worked for me much better.
This was before you moved to the UK or after you moved to the UK?
That was at the same time.
At the same time,
moved to the
okay.
UK, yeah. Because I moved to UK, and then that was a bit also that was a biggest eye opener, let's say, that this sense of belonging has nothing to do with a place, but it has everything to do with myself. Because once I went there and I was there, I loved England from the stories and from the pictures and from visiting. When I was 16, I went, to learn English. You go there for a month. And then I'm there, I'm living my dream. And all of a sudden, after, a month or two, you start feeling not really so good again. So that feeling that was so not common, but so known to me, reemerged. And then then it came that my cousin, when I was in the summer here during the holidays, I met with her, and then I was introduced to that. And then I went and started doing these sessions, and kind of self-development path started then through these body-centered therapies.
So you moved to England, and this feeling was following you. So
Yes.
It's not that you could not escape from it, right?
No.
But you tried.
Yeah, and that's the thing that basically that was also, well, I'm happy that happened when I was 28, so that I didn't spend half of my life trying to go from job to job, from country to country, to realize that it's all in me, actually.
Yeah.
So so that whatever you feel, you first have to look into yourself.
Yeah.
To see whether it's there, or it is really the place or a person or whatever else it is.
That's very interesting that but you need to double check, or you need to discard
Yes.
this option to then look, okay, if it's not that, then what it is, right?
Yes.
And that's very interesting. Body therapy, you call it?
Yeah, body-centered therapy.
Body-centered therapy. Tell us more about that. What's exactly how it works?
How it works? It works. One of the kind of very quick way, and probably the most easiest to understand. First of all, the best would be that anyone goes and tries it, because it's really experience-oriented thing. So you have to experience it better than talk about it. The easiest way, I think, how to describe it is if you feel pain, physical pain somewhere, and it is not because you hurt yourself, you hit yourself or something like that, but all of a sudden you start feeling pain. Basically, you should sit quiet and focus on the pain and start feeling the pain. And see if you can be without thoughts and without judgments about that pain, but just basically sit with the pain. It sounds very easy, and as a process, it is this, nothing more than that. The only thing is that with body-centered therapies, it can be that people are not very embodied. Many of us are not very embodied because, for whatever reason, during our growing up, we learn to dissociate from our body. We all do that to bigger or smaller extent. But basically, it's like when you are meditating and when you are doing body scans, you start feeling different parts of your body. And the more you feel them and the more you can stay with the sensations in your body, the more embodied you are. And the more you can focus on any of these sensations and see what will come up from there, the more blockages and whatever you want to get rid of, let's say, or you want to look into to accept it, the better and the faster you do that. And you are then embodying more and more, you are embodying yourself here in this physical body that we all have, basically. So its body is giving you sensations, and you are looking into these sensations, and through that you are learning what is behind that sensation that you want to know, accept, and usually these are then the patterns of, like, not belonging or feeling angry or feeling sad or whatever else that we are usually not looking into and kind of pushing under the carpet and saying, oh, okay, tomorrow or whatever.
Wow. Okay. So this can be to deal with physical pain and emotional pain,
Yeah,
right? Any kind of
particularly with
sensation.
emotional, yes, particularly with
Okay.
emotional pain. And then once you resolve the emotional pain, very often the physical pain also goes away. Of course, I'm not now suggesting that you do the emotional stuff and then you are curing your cancer. But basically, whenever you are curing whatever emotional things that you are dealing with, or you are not, they are bothering you, you are then also dealing with some of the physical stuff as well.
So, okay, and this is something that we can all do at home. I mean, without supervision or without just
Yeah,
looking at our. It's just putting
basic.
the focus on the body sensation without
Yes,
judging. You said, right? So with like an empty mind.
yes. So anyone who meditates can actually do that. The thing is that would be better to do that with a therapist first, to through a couple of sessions, so that you get the idea how it is, and also that you are mature, let's say, enough that whatever comes up, because once you really focus to the pain, let's say, and you stay with the pain and you don't judge it, very often some old problematic, painful things that you once put under the carpet are coming up. And once you they literally hit you in the face, but that can happen also in a meditation. Only that people who are meditating and did this, they say that these things are sometimes, not necessarily, but sometimes they might be stronger. So people who are not used to meditate, then I would always suggest that they first go to a therapist and do a couple of sessions with a therapist, and then go on with doing it by themselves.
So what I understand, this is an excellent tool to bring awareness about
Yes,
the reason behind the emotion or the trigger or the feeling, right?
yes, yes.
And once you have this awareness,
Without having your mind telling you yes or no going there. That's the biggest, to me, the biggest trick, because with every psychotherapy you do that. Only then, when you are doing it through the mind by analyzing it and talking about it and all that, you can much easier guide yourself and guide the therapist actually to the places where you do want or you don't want to go. And when you do it through the body first, then you go there where it needs to go. You can't direct the process.
so it's like trusting the wisdom of the body that will know
Yes,
what it needs to
absolutely.
do. Because when you have this awareness, I mean, if something comes to your mind and suddenly say, "Oh my God, this comes from this unhealed part of
Yeah.
myself or in the past," what do you do then? Do you journal about it, or that is when you need the therapist, or what happens in the next step?
Well, basically, you sit with it to feel it. Because all these things also, when you are doing a normal session with a talk session, let's say, or you get this awareness, the most important thing is to really resolve it, is to feel the feeling behind that pattern or behind that pain that you have. So if it can be a joy, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a pain only, like a sadness, but it's, if there is a, I don't know, you lost, let's go with a pet. You lost your pet, but you never really row because you lost the pet. So it was there because, I don't know, maybe the parent says, oh, they wanted to help you, and they say, don't cry, it's all okay. So you are actually, you didn't let yourself to feel that pain that the cat is dead. So basically, the moment that you realize that, oh my God, there is a pain here, or I have so much memories and there is so much pain in my chest when I think about that cat, it's that the pain in your chest is telling you that this sadness is still there, wants to be felt. So basically, when the awareness comes up, you have to connect with the feeling and just stay with the feeling, whatever the feeling is. And that's the place where the therapist comes in to help you witness this pain that you alone were not able to carry, let's say. And once you did it a couple of times with the therapist, then you can do it later with yourself, to be aware that, okay, there's awareness. Oh, let's feel it. So yes, then after that you can journal if you want. But the most important bit is to feel it at that moment when the feeling comes up.
Yeah, because we tend to just escape and do other things, keep busy, so we don't suffer, we don't, we
Yeah.
don't feel it. We want to avoid to feel this.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to
But
feel bad.
we do that also with joy, which is very strange, that very often we do it also with joy, that the joy is actually there, and we kind of go, oh, it was nice, it was very nice, but you don't stay with that joy, you don't let this joy go through you. So it goes, it's not necessarily always, we always talk about this these difficult feelings, but it's very similar with the joy,
Yeah,
that we don't.
celebrating something, allowing
Yes,
us to feel
yes,
happiness.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. So, from your experience, you think that pains in different parts of the body means something different, like in the chest, sadness, maybe in the stomach, fear? I don't know. Always very personal of each person.
It's very personal. And there are some things that usually, yes, sometimes the pain in the chest is usually sadness behind it, but it can be different. Or it can be that the sadness is coming out from the belly as well. But these are personal things that everyone, once you go in there, that you learn your own body messages, actually, how your body is telling you the messages itself.
Okay, so leaving the mind blank, focusing on the
Yes,
pain, let the body tell you the awareness, giving you the awareness of what's the thing that needs to be
exactly.
healed.
And the
Good.
easiest way is to Google body scan, and then and then do a little meditation. Usually it's like 10 minutes of a body scan, and then you start being aware of the sensations in your body. And the one thing that is very important is don't try to change it, but just stay with it. Many body scans then say, well, squeeze it and release it. That's then to get rid of it. But if you really want to see what's going on there, you just notice it, you become aware of that, and you stay with it.
Until disappears by itself.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's a process first, and then it disappears. Sometimes it just disappears because you look into it.
Wow. Okay.
Depends.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna implement
Yeah,
that.
try.
I feel curious, Tamara, because you said that in the past you were traveling, moving abroad, and this was like a kind of escape of this feeling. How this body-centered therapy has helped you, what benefits now you have, or how you implement it when you travel? How is different now, this experience for you?
Well, when I'm traveling now, when I'm living now, I'm trying to live the sensations. I'm going to put the light on because I'm totally in the dark. I see. Yeah, so I just actually, since I discovered this therapy and everything, I meditate definitely every morning, and then when I'm traveling, then I'm literally trying to be in my belly. That's where my anchor is, and just receive whatever is around me. So, and that's in traveling, when you are traveling to different places, that is usually to literally take in everything that's around me. And to take in that, to me, means very much like stay in your belly, stay in your body, and don't just analyze and talk and write or take a pictures. I was fanatic with pictures. I had millions of pictures, and I even stopped taking pictures to kind of try to be really more in the moment and just remember whatever comes in by letting the feelings in me, let's say,
The
and
new
then and through
experiences
me.
and
Yeah.
the good and the bad, as you said, because it
Yeah.
puts you out the comfort zone. There's some unknown things that also traveling
Yes.
can bring triggers there. That is important to
Yes.
have this tool with you in your
Yeah.
toolkit. But
Yeah.
also when you are in awe with some beautiful landscape, or when you are, having this
Yes.
amazing meal, or
Yeah.
smelling aromas.
I love
Or,
mountains the most. So when I'm in the Alps or anywhere there, then it's really like, sit there and just let it all in, all these views. I have all these views in my head and everything, and just, yeah, be aware that I'm here on top of the mountain and having all these mountains around me. And that's
super.
it. Yeah.
That's super good. I love that. Well, Tamara, time flies, and I
Yeah.
will
Yeah. I
be
know.
chatting here all the time with you, but we need to start wrapping up. So, but I
Yeah.
know, I don't want to let you go before you share with me your hidden gems. So, I'm collecting hidden gems from all around the world. What's the hidden gem that you recommend from your place, your region, your country?
Well, I was very much thinking about that because, yeah, everyone who goes to Croatia wants to go to the sea, and I definitely think you have to see the sea and then go to the islands, not to the coast, but to the islands. Doesn't matter where. But I really think that for me, being from the sea, a real hidden gem was or are the villages along River Sava. And that's the river that is a border between Croatia and Bosnia in the north. And that these are the villages between the city of Sisak and uh, Kutina. And these are wooden vernacular architecture buildings which are protected, and people still, in many of them, people still live in. So they are not only the museums, but they are like, I don't know how many, I forgot the number of these villages, but when I was there, it was really like a totally different world, a world where time didn't come, 20th century didn't start even in some parts of them. These are such a beautiful combination of architecture and nature working together. So I would really recommend anyone who has a day, had enough of the sea, to go inland and then visit these villages between Kutina and Sisak. It's really beautiful, really beautiful, along River Sava.
Wow, amazing.
That's
Just this
really good.
comes in the best
Different.
timing ever because I go to Croatia next week. So I'm just going to check this,
Ooh,
put it in
oh,
my bucket
there,
list.
put that there and see whether you can get there as well. It's a bit complicated to travel because Croatia has this very stupid, crazy
Shape,
shape.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, if you
Okay,
have a
I'm going
day,
to do my
two
best
or
to
more,
check it
yeah,
out. So I'm
see,
going to take a
yeah.
picture and tag you there if I go.
Yay! Great.
Okay, Tamara, last before finishing up, where people can contact you? What's the best way to reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me is through Facebook. I'm there under my name, Tamara Rogic, and then you can follow me on the Facebook, or you can message me in the messenger, and then in that way come into contact with me.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Tamara. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure
very
to
much for
have you on board
having
the
me.
Travel Coach today.
Yeah.
Thank you, and everybody tuning in, as usual, happy and safe travels. Thank
Thank
you, Tamara.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.